Welcome back to Yahoo Finance Live. We've been hearing a chorus of market warnings growing louder, at least in number, from some big name investors, including Leon Cooperman, Stanley Druckenmiller, Michael Burry of The Big Short fame, of course, as well as famed author of Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Robert Kiyosaki, now added in the mix as well there. I want to read a tweet that had a lot of people talking out recently. He said, quote, "The best time to prepare for a crash is before the crash. The biggest crash in world history is coming. The good news is the best time to get rich is during a crash. Bad news is the next crash will be a long one. Get more gold, silver, and Bitcoin while you can." And then I love the take care at the end. And joining us here for more on that is the author himself, Robert Kiyosaki, joins us. Robert, good to be chatting with you again, man. I like to take care there because it's optimistic, right? People do get rich off crashes. Some people who timed it after the sell-off last year were able to profit in the recovery here. But talk to me about what you're watching and what has you so concerned about what could spark the biggest crash in world history.
Well, as my friend here, Jim Records, we're the old guys here, and we've experienced enough crashes in our lifetime. But what Jim says is quite accurate, is the next crash is basically an avalanche waiting for the last snowflake. And since 2008, all they've been doing is piling more debt onto the mountainside, and they're just waiting for the next snowflake to hit. And it's going to be the biggest in world history. I thought COVID was it, but they just added more debt onto the Avalanche site.
Yeah, and continue to print. And we've seen kind of concerns about how we get out of that debt pile. And it sounds like you're leaning into Bitcoin and gold. We've heard a lot of traditional investors leaning into Bitcoin as a hedge. Kevin O'Leary as well noted he's got, 3% in his portfolio. How large of a portfolio position is it for you, though? And how large should it be for maybe the average investor watching this to protect themselves?
Well, let me give you the macro because everybody goes micro on me. This here is a $10 million Zimbabwe dollar. This is the US dollar. If you're waiting for the US dollar to become 10 million, that's not that intelligent, but that's what they teach you to do in school, is go to school and get a job and work for this garbage. And this here is $2,000 worth of gold in one concentrated form. And this here is a US silver eagle. That's about $25. So I just compared this garbage here to what gold, silver, and Bitcoin is. So in one of my tweets, I said, I'm waiting for Bitcoin to hit 24. I entered at 9, and I'm still in the money. And I'm very happy it's coming down so I can buy more. Simple.
Yeah, I guess the question is those people who maybe didn't get in, right? Or maybe got in at the all-time highs, we saw at 62,000. Those people might be a little bit more worried about what could happen here. The people like myself and you who have been in this for a bit might be fine because they've already seen it proven out. But when you look at it, how do you see it going? If it does dip down further, I know you're going to be a buyer, but what do you see as kind of those catalysts that does take the price of Bitcoin higher now?
Well, again, I said this is the problem. It's called the Zimbabwe dollar or the US dollar. That's the real problem. So I just watched that sideshow with this guy, Powell, Yellen, what's his name, Biden, and those characters. And I just gauge off of them. Whatever they're doing, I'm not going to do. But I've been that way most of my life. Some people call me a contrarian. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a capitalist. I don't own any stocks. I don't like stocks, but I don't have to own stocks because I'm an entrepreneur. I build my own assets. Like the Rich Dad Company is an international brand, and a brand is what Buffett invests in, like McDonald's or Gillette or Coca-Cola. So to the young people, I say, don't be an employee. Why don't you become an entrepreneur like Gates or Musk or those characters? And then you get really rich. But if you can just sit there and play the stock market, you may as well play Bitcoin too.
I'd be curious to get your take too. I guess we've seen, obviously in personal finance, buying a house is always a big question. And I wonder what that would look like too, if you're expecting maybe the value of the dollar to go down or inflation to take off. Obviously, if you take out a mortgage and you take on big debt, it's easier to pay back if inflation does surge. So how are you giving advice maybe on that front when it comes to real estate and what you're seeing play out there?
Well, it's not real estate, it's debt. You see, I mean, this guy, what's his name? I forgot his name now. Good friend of mine, but I'm having the Biden effect. He says live debt free. Are you crazy? In 1971, the US dollar became debt. So every time I have a chance to buy real estate, I borrow as much money as I can. So I think I'm about 1.2 billion in debt because debt became money in 1971. But what these other goofballs are saying is that get out of debt, live debt free. Well, that's a choice you make. So I just don't do that. I own a lot of real estate. And every month I make millions of dollars a month in cash flow and I pay no taxes because the tax system incentivizes people who use debt. So everything they teach you in business school is a bunch of BS.